Okay, let's do trade of the week for last week, which was, of course, this ridiculous trade I took for about 30R in the end, or maybe at least 25R. But this was basically the most ridiculous trade I've ever taken, and I'm going to walk you through why I took it. So very simply, these are my rules. We're going to walk through them now. I'm going to show you why I took this trade. So the market on Friday was OPEX, which means options expiry, which tends to chop sideways. So I only actually ended up taking this trade with 5 accounts. I usually copy trade 30 accounts with $200 risk, but I only took this with 5 accounts in the end because I didn't want to risk all my accounts on OPEX, because usually price chops you up and does basically this. You see how we opened here? Look at how crap this price action is. But anyway, so these are my rules. I identify liquidity above. It's very, very simple. As you can see here, on the daily time frame, what have we got? We've got these two obvious highs for all-time highs. This was my draw for going into this session here. You can see we opened up. I got up at about 8 o'clock, some UK time. You can see we're grinding up here. And then I've just marked out this low, and basically we're going to go through why I took this trade. So usually what I do is when I come into sessions, I'll just go and I'll mark out all the obvious lows like this. So I've got places to trade from because I like to wait for sweeps of liquidity. And then basically what was happening is I was just watching the charts here, and I'll show you exactly what happened. So we can go through this trade in real time. Replay mode, select bar. So we're grinding up here as the session progresses, and then we create an obvious swing low, which I mark out here. I've already identified my liquidity above, which is the all-time highs I'm trying to target. We've got the local swing high here, we've got that high up there what I marked, and we've also got the high of all-time highs, which I marked up there, as you can see. So I've got my targets for the session. So I'm looking forward to take longs towards these levels if we get them. And as you can see, we come down and we tag this low. So we've got a sweep as well. So we're coming up. You can see we come up, we create the swing low, we come up again, we come down, we tag and sweep this liquidity here, and we're also bouncing out of this 3 minute gap to the left as well. And look at this. These are all their price conditions and the checklist that I take every single time I take a trade. I've identified my liquidity. I've got a sweep, as you can see here. A very bullish reaction. We barely displaced below this low before rejecting it and bouncing up. Really good momentum. We've got an inverted fair value gap. You can see we've got a fair value gap here. 1, 2, 3 candle pattern, and then we create the gap, and then as you can see we invert it and close back above it. And then we've also got ourselves this 3 candle pattern V shape, which is when you create a gap like this. 1, 2, 3 candles, and then you instantly inverse it on the next one. Exactly like this one right here. This is the best reversal, in my opinion, the best thing I've found for catching reversals in the market. 1, 2, 3, 4 candles. 3 candle pattern V shape. You create the gap and instantly inverse it. This is what you're looking for. This is an absolutely fantastic way of trading. As I've said in previous videos, I've got an 80% win rate with this over the past year. Over 100k of payouts with Apex, Lucid, Top Step, Traderify, etc. And this has been absolutely ridiculous for me. So this is the trade that I took. It's all there. It's all ready to go. And then 1R is literally somewhere in the region of here. And this is what I do. So I've identified my liquidity. I've got the sweep, the bullish reaction. I've got the momentum. I've got the inverted fair value gap, the 3 candle pattern V shape. When I see trades like this, I'm never not going to take them. The only reason I didn't take this, like I said, copy traded on all my accounts, was because it was OPEX, and sometimes OPEX can mess around with price and chop sideways for no reason, as you saw later on in the session. But as you can quite clearly tell here, that was never going to happen, as you saw the result at the start of the video. So my entry model is very simple. This is all the conditions for entry. I enter on the inversion here. I have a size for about halfway between the low and the gap like this. So basically, if we come down and close below, I'll close for however much I'm risking. I risk $200 per trade per account generally, and I only took this with 5 accounts instead of 30 like I said. This tool here is sized for about $200 risk, so you can see I took this with about 10 micros, a mini essentially, in the region of here, as you can see. 10 micros, so that's about $200 risk if we come back down to this low. And you can see all my criteria are fulfilled, and then all I do is I let the trade play out. So let's click on a few candles. You can see we come up and we tag my 1R there. So I'm in the trade. I've risked $200. We hit 1R. I always scale half and go break even at 1R, because 9 times out of 10 when we hit 1R and then we come back, we usually go lower like this. This is just from my back testing personally. And if then also 9 times out of 10, if we hit 1R, we'll actually continue upwards to usually the local swing high or whatever. I've had a few scale half and break even trades recently, and pretty much every single time that I scale half at 1R and then get break even, the price will go down like this. It's very rare that you'll come up, hit 1R, come back to the break even and then go up like this. It's very, very uncommon. That has happened once in the past few weeks, but really over the past 2 or 3 years of me back testing and year of me trading, it very rarely happens. This is why I go break even at 1R, because usually if I'm right, price will keep going anyway, and if I'm wrong, I'll get break even and then price will go lower and I'll save myself, you know, being a loss on the rest of the trade. So I scaled half my position here, which is 5 micros, which is $100 on those 5 accounts, and then I go break even. So it's basically a free trade at this point for me. I'm just going, you know, whatever happens after this, I'm break even. So if I get break even, then that's fine. I'll just look for the next trade, continue onwards, and then we wind things on here. As you can see, we chopped around a little bit, and then we came up and we hit the local high, where I scaled some more because this is about 3R at this point. So I think I scaled, it took a little while there, we were a little bit choppy and weird. I think we did actually hit this, yeah, and then we kind of rejected and then continued. Basically what happened with this one is I scaled a few more micros here. I think there's about $250, $300. So I'm up about 2R so far, and I'm still holding like 2 or 3 micros at this point. Basically I think I scaled 1 here, and I was trying to hold the next one for this high, because this was obviously going to get hit in my opinion. So I'll wind it on a little bit more. You can see we messed around a bit more, and then we came up, we hit the next high, which was this local high, up around 4 or 5R at this point. So I scaled another one here. I'm up about $500 or so on my trade so far, and I've still got 2 runners here, and I'm just holding them for these local highs that I've identified. This is why it's really important to identify your targets beforehand, because if you get into a situation where you're steamrolling towards them like this, or like, you know, like a freight train just ripping up towards them, then you can decide to hold more runners towards them to make more profit. I took this trade on my Lucid Flex accounts, which means there's no consistency rule on funded, so I can actually make like $1,000, $1,500 in a day and it not destroy my funded accounts. So basically what happened is, you can see here, we came up and we smashed through this next high as well. I scaled another one here. At this point I've made about $600, $700. You can see we're up around almost basically 100 points at this point, and I've scaled out of 7 or 8, 9 micros at this point. So we're up at about $600 or $700, maybe $600 to be conservative, and I'm still holding another micro which is about $150, $200 in profit floating. And then very simply, the rest is history. We came up and we smacked that all-time high. Once we hit the all-time high on NQ, I just trailed my stop on the 3-minute, got up to about somewhere in the region of here, which is where I closed the trade. And as you can see, it was a good job I did, because we got a huge rejection after that, and I would have left a lot of profit on the table. Made over $1,000 on this trade per account, so that's like, I think I made 5,200 or something across the 5 accounts. And you can see this was extremely simple. And if you go and check out my YouTube, check out my Discord, check out the premium WAP if you want alerts for my trades, literally all of this is done every single day. This is the process I take every single trade with. You can go in the WAP, the premium Discord, and you can see every single trade that I take is alerted in there. I alerted this trade in there, and I said I was taking it with a few accounts, so I ended up taking it with 5, which is 1 batch for me. 30 accounts is when I copy trade, but I do them in batches of 5 with different firms as well. These were the Lucid accounts, like I said. And yeah, this was an absolutely ridiculous trade. Probably the biggest trade I'll ever take. It certainly is the biggest trade I've ever taken. There's been a few of these recently because of how bullish we've been. But yeah, overall this was an incredible trade. And really, one of the most ridiculous trades I've ever seen, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, absolutely incredible trade, like I said. I alerted this in my premium Discord, like I said as well. If you want access to that, you can get it in the description below. Join the Discord below for free as well. The free Discord down below, we're almost at 100 members. I'm going to do a giveaway once we do that. Apart from that, there's not much to say other than thanks for watching. Hope you learned something from this. Please do like and subscribe and all those YouTube things. And I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.